I'll wait 2 minutes right after.
Construction part. Yeah. What's going on over there? So we're trying, so. I haven't been out that way. I got a couple of nightmares.
But Michael will talk for a few minutes right now.
You get a nice road program that turned into a drainage. I got a nice road program that turned into a drainage disaster and water. Because they built everything in the hole and everything's in the bathtub. God forbid the road really didn't fix it. I was like, bad sort of. Everything's inspiring. So.
It's the season. And I forget, I think of blocking out every year, start on the contract. It's a getting place in 1 week.
I know, it may.
We go somewhere where we can just build everything from scratch.
What's that?
I want to go somewhere where we can just build everything from scratch.
It's called 1952.
Figure it out, let me know.
So I feel that way.
I'm ready if you are.
7.
Well, it's 2 minutes. You got 2 minutes.
You got the alarm set start at 7.
Oh, yeah. Yep, 4 cases. They're all here. Pardon me? Sounds good.
802.
Oh, okay.
802.
Well, there's only. Okay. I like that. I've been had a long day.
Right side of the grass. Yeah. That's when I tell my farm. As far as I know, I might be on the wrong side. Some days I think it's the wrong side.
Oh, it's almost empty. Oh, yeah. It's empty now.
I got 7 o'clock.
Yep.
Did you start recording?
Yep.
All right. Can we start?
Yep.
All right, we're going to call meeting to order. This meeting is being held in accordance with the sunshine laws of the state of New Jersey, chapter 145 by mayor and council and planning board for official notices. Notices of the meeting posted on the borough bulletin board and the borough's website for that purpose. Roll call, Suzanne.
Sure. Mr. Madden,
Present.
Chairman Hanson,
Here.
Mayor Halk,
Here.
Councilman Morgan,
Here.
Mr. Famular,
Here.
and Mr. Schmidt.
Here. We have a quorum, flag salute. I
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, with some administrative business, I tend to prior to get into the cases this evening. Do we have any correspondence this evening, Suzanne?
No.
Any open meeting for public comments for items that are not on the agenda this evening? Anyone that wants to come forward and talk about anything that's not on the agenda this evening, please come forward. Seeing no one, we'll close public comment for that portion. Any board comments before we get to the approval of minutes? Hearing none, we'll move on. Approval of the May 18, 2023 minutes. Has everybody had a chance to review the minutes? Any questions or comments? I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Anyone want a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Abstain. Note the abstentions, Mr. Madden, Mayor Houck, and Councilman Morgan.
Thank you.
Motion passes. Resolutions, case number 23-5-1P, William and Susan Abbey, 1734 Prospect Ridge Boulevard, Block 90, Lot 4. Do you want to summarize the resolution?
Absolutely. So for CS 23-5-1P, this application was for the construction of a deck and steps in the side and rear yard setback on an existing lot. The applicant required variances for lot coverage, side yard setback, and rear yard setback. The property had a number of existing non-conformities. The applicant demonstrated that the proposed deck had a small footprint and minimal design. The applicant established that the board's grant of a variance, or multiple variances, would not impair the intent and purpose of the master plan and zoning ordinance, and would not be a substantial detriment to the public good.
Has everybody had a chance to review the resolution? Any comments, questions? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Anyone that was here and voted affirmatively, am I the only other one that was here? I'll second it then. So, roll call, Suzanne?
Mr. Schmidt,
Yes.
Chairman Hanson,
Yes. That's quick. Motion passes. Case number 23-5-2P Distinctive Image and Design LLC 605 White Horse Pike, Lot 35, Lot 27. Elena, you want to summarize that one as well?
Certainly. So this application was for a use variance for CS 23-5-2P. They needed a use variance. The applicant sought to renovate an existing vacant 2.5-story building to a mixed-use building with an interior design office on the first floor and a residential apartment on the second. The applicant demonstrated that the proposed use promoted the purposes of zoning set forth in the municipal land use law, and that the variance could be granted without substantial detriment to the public good.
John, any questions or comments on that?
No.
I don't have any as well. Would you like to
I will make a motion to move that,
approve?
to approve.
I'll second that.
Mr. Schmidt,
Adam,
Yes.
Mr. Hanson.
yes.
Okay.
Motion passes. Okay, we're on to new applications, new business this evening. First case before us is case number 23-6-1P. Sue and John Goff, 1500 Maple Avenue, block 104, lot 11. It's for both variances related to a deck/patio. If you want to come forward, we'll have the solicitor swear you in, and we'll hear your case. Whoever's going to give testimony, John.
Okay. Who do first? Who do you want me?
You sure you want to let him talk, Sue?
I don't know, I'm really worried about this.
Okay.
Can I come up with them? So I
Absolutely.
could nudge him a little bit?
Of course.
Mr. Chairman, before we begin, I have a read notice on this application. The applicant has served proper notice to the property owners and published the notice of the hearing in accordance with NJSA 4055D-12. The board does have jurisdiction to hear and determine the application for these 12 variances. Thank you.
We'll swear Mr. Goff in, and our engineer, Mr. Bob.
Yeah.
Swear.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, you want to tell us about your project? Or you want to,
Yeah, I can do a brief summary for the project. So these applicants are requesting approval for some bulk variances related to the construction of a wood composite deck. I think that deck is 14 by 22. It's going to be on the rear of the existing property. There is an existing 1.5-story dwelling located on this property. Is a 6,250 square feet parcel, and it's located in the borough's R5 residential zoning district. The lot contains an existing, I said that, 1.5-story residential dwelling, a concrete driveway, woodshed, and miscellaneous site improvements. So correct me if I'm wrong, the applicants want to remove an existing concrete patio and then replace it with the proposed deck that's the subject of the application.
Yes.
John, it's just, it's a rear yard, or it's a side yard setback?
Yes.
That you're seeking variance for? It's just slightly bigger than what was there before?
It's a front yard setback.
Okay, so our front yard's actually on the.
Side yard.
Our front.
Oh, it's a corner property, okay, I
Yeah,
apologize.
so can we clarify that? Because if I'm looking at this drawing right, it's not on, the front yards would be considered Maple Ave and Glenside for a corner property, correct?
Our address is Maple Avenue.
Yeah,
Correct. But this porch is gonna go, or this deck is gonna go on top of that concrete,
No, on top, I want the old concrete's breaking. and I
the same
want-
location, right?
same location.
Yeah,
So that-
it was there when we bought the house 42 years ago. It just broke those last 42 years.
So the deck is actually gonna go on the, not on the front yard, but it's gonna go on
We're going that same
that,
place.
is that considered the rear because 1500, their address is.
Yes, 2 front yards.
Right, but the deck is gonna go either, I would call it a side or a rear.
It looks like the rear of the house, though. That's what I was confused about.
It's actually, technically, it's the side of the house, but it's a side Our door faces Glenside Avenue, but our address is Maple. So we're on a corner. So where
So
all
it's-
the other houses' door faces Maple, our door faces Glenside,
Front door.
our front door.
Okay.
And then we call it, our yard is on the side, but I guess you consider it the back.
And that runs
So
parallel.
I understand that.
Yeah,
So
the
it's
front-
20 feet from Glenside where you need 25. I see.
That's exactly it.
That's what you're saying. Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
it's
If you get
20
the
feet
drawing, you
and
can see
25 is
it.
required.
I understand.
But even though the house is already at that level,
I got what you're saying.
because you're expanding the nonconformity,
This is how we handle all these
Yes.
cases. Okay.
and that's the subject of it, really, is that 20 feet is being proposed where 20 foot is required. It's in the location of an existing concrete porch, which is going to be removed. And there's also a notation which we should include in the resolution of an existing non-conformance for a side yard. But just to note that for the record. So the relief is being requested for 20 instead of 25 foot on that Glenside Avenue front yard setback.
Correct.
That's correct.
Sounds
That's
good.
just what it is.
We're under lot coverage, we don't have anything else, so it's basically just mimicking the same footprint.
Yep, I would suggest that it is unique because of how the house is situated on the lot. Instead of being facing the other street, it's facing Glenside Avenue. So it's a unique situation on how the house is sited on the existing 6,250 square foot lot.
Okay. I don't have any other questions on it. You don't have any issues looking at your letter, it doesn't look like you had any issues that we need to address. It's just basically the geometry of the lot. Correct. Dictates the front yard setback. When I looked at it, I saw that it was in the rear, I was trying to figure out why we were here, because it was basically the same footprint. I didn't understand.
It's because of how the property, the dwelling is situated on the lot, on the front door.
Okay, that makes sense. Any questions from board members? Comments? Opening up the public. Anybody want to speak on this matter? Come forward, we'll have you sworn in. Seeing none, we'll close public participation.
Mr. Chairman, just one thing, have you, both, I'm sure you had to notice your neighbors, have you spoken to them about your proposed project?
Oh, yeah, they're fine with it. They can't wait to come over.
Okay, so would you say that, the board granting the relief wouldn't cause any substantial detriment to the public good?
No.
Would you say that if the board did grant the relief, that there wouldn't, be any substantial impairment to the intent or purpose of the zoning plan or zoning ordinance?
No.
Anybody else, any further questions or comments? I'll entertain the motion. You want to summarize well, I don't think we need a huge summary here, I guess. We're under the C variance criteria here. It's just simple variance, front yard setback 20 feet where 25 minimum is required in the zone. I'll entertain a motion to approve the variance this time.
I'll make a motion to approve the variance in accordance with Mr. Bach's letter and also to approve the existing non-conforming uses.
I'll second. Conditions.
Conditions.
Yeah.
Roll call, Suzanne?
Sure. Mr. Madden,
Yes.
Chairman Hanson,
Yes.
Mayor Hauck,
Yes.
Councilman Morgan,
Yes.
Mr. Famularo,
Yes.
and Mr. Schmidt.
Yes.
Motion carries, you're approved. I'll tell you the same thing that we tell everybody else that comes in. Next month, at our next meeting, we'll pass a resolution memorializing the decision made this evening. So, and then after that, the notice of that decision is published in the newspaper. There's a 45-day appeal period where somebody could technically appeal the decision that was made here this evening, considering that it wasn't very controversial, it seems.
Just one question.
You can proceed at your own risk.
Just,
This is a project.
just
Right.
don't do nothing until.
No, you can proceed at your own risk with the project, but until the appeal period lapses, you're at your own risk. So it's very unlikely that anybody's gonna appeal it, John, but if somebody did.
I just wanted to get the whole concrete thing done out of the way. You know, when they build
I
the
would,
deck.
I would say you're pretty safe to proceed.
Yeah, you're, yeah.
Because that's more of a hazard than anything.
We just tell everybody that you're at your own risk, you're proceeding at your own risk until the appeal period lasts, which would be pretty much, let's say 50 days after our next meeting in July.
I think to their concern of the
They just
the
want to.
demolition aspect of it wouldn't really.
The demolition doesn't matter.
Okay.
Yeah, I can start.
I think you're on the record on the existence of the concrete as part of the application material, so even if there's an appeal, and even if there's a subsequent hearing, you would still be vested in that coverage and everything else, of course. So I think you're safe to demolition.
Two different people doing two different jobs. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in. Okay, our next case is case number 23-6-2P. That's Rachel Davy, 1422 Chestnut Avenue, block 111, lot 2. Full variance for porch/sunroom/shed. In the last case, we'll have our solicitor swear you in and ask you some questions about your project.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
And Mr. Chairman, I have reviewed notice, applicant has served proper notice to the property owners and published a notice of the hearing in accordance with NJSA 4055D-12. The board has jurisdiction to hear and determine the application for these bulk variances in accordance with the provisions of the Haddon Heights Land Development Ordinance Section 450-81 and Municipal Land Use Law 4055D-70C.
Okay, it looks like you're here for construction of the front porch and a sunroom on your two-story dwelling. Then you're going to replace two existing sheds with a new shed on the property. You're at Chestnut between Glenside and Belmar. There's a lot coverage variance associated with this, front yard setback, and then there's two existing nonconformities, a side yard and side aggregate yard setbacks. Correct? That's correct.
Correct, yeah. You did mention that there's two sheds in the
Two
back,
existing
but
sheds,
there's
okay.
currently only one. One has already been removed.
One's already been removed, okay.
Yeah, so it's just one existing.
The smaller.
Yeah.
So I'm the architect for the project, and
Okay.
so I'm here on her behalf.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about the project then?
And your name first.
Keith Kirsch.
Hi, Keith.
So, first of all, Rachel isn't necessarily planning to do all this at once. Her main effort is going to be the front porch right now, and we just want to come in as one effort. So we are coming back later and make you guys think that we're trying to squeak it in later or something like that. So the front porch, if you're looking at the site plan, first of all, I want to say the existing house, if you're looking at the site plan, you can see the two sides of the house extend over the current setback requirements. I purposely designed the porch to stay within those two side setbacks, so as not to make it a further side yard
There's
problem.
no exacerbation of the current setbacks.
Exactly. However, we're asking for the front yard setback because the existing porch, which is hard to see, but it's dashed in there very lightly at the front. It's a very narrow, small porch, and she wants a wider porch that she can have seating out on the front. The existing porch extends out 7 feet already, as does the adjacent house to the left of her. And from the best I can tell, there's a photograph on sheet EX2 looking from her porch towards the house to her left, and you can see that the houses are aligned. And we just want to come out to match that same porch in her existing front porch.
Looks like you're coming out roughly 2 feet further than the existing porch.
No, it's actually the same distance.
Oh, that's a setback line, I'm sorry.
Yeah, exactly, but roughly 2 feet over the setback. So it matches her existing porch and the adjacent porch. And that's partly why we're exceeding the lot coverage too. Her lot is already, as you know from the numbers, already exceeding the allowable 30%, and she's at 39.6. So by making the front porch larger, it's adding to that problem, which we try to compensate for in the rear yard. If you look at the last sheet, SB1, you can compare the front elevations, what's existing now versus what we're trying to do. And you can see the existing front porch it's not very attractive right now, and also there's no seating on that porch. So to make it a porch where she can have seating, we're trying to extend the width of it. The left side of that porch, I wanted the roof to get past the bay window above for aesthetic reasons, because if it stopped anywhere short of that bay window, it would look very awkward. But it comes right to the edge of that side setback. But I made it work, and it's a much more attractive porch, and I think it's good for the neighborhood.
Renderings look very nice.
May I ask a question? Madam Solicitor, is the notice for any and all relief? Besides the specified relief?
I believe so, yes.
So, Mr. Chairman, if I can ask a question, I understand that you're trying to keep the side yard setbacks from not being variance. It would be a better design if it went to full width for the applicant of the front porch.
Not really,
Okay,
because
that's all. It's not really,
Okay.
I just wanted to get that part of the discussion. Thank you.
Yes, it says any and other.
All right, and so that's our reasoning behind the design of the front porch. With regard to the rear yard, as I said, we're trying to compensate a little bit for the overage in coverage. We made the sunroom area is a 12 by 14 living space. It's about as minimal as we can make it and still have it be a reasonable living space, but it's taking the place of the existing deck. So removing the deck, as you can see dashed on the drawing there, is considerably larger than the proposed sunroom. So we're kind of compensating for some of the coverage. On the other hand, the proposed shed in the rear is bigger than the other shed, but
Yeah, I mean, really, the reason for that is I don't have any basement. I don't have the option to have any storage or even refinished basement down below. Nobody really on my block, other than my next door neighbor does, has a basement. So having a little bit of a larger shed out back allows me to have storage and then with the den, additional space for family gatherings. Just anecdotally, I've been here for 14 years and I love my home. And if you were from the outside, it looks pretty large. Inside, it's kept that quaintness of small rooms. But I don't really have like a gathering space for like my baths there and whatnot. So
You don't have a garage either, I can see.
I don't have a
storage,
garage,
and,
no.
Part of the impervious coverage, I noticed that you do have a driveway that goes all the way back to the house, and one of the things we encourage in town is people to park such that cars are behind the front of their house, so, I mean, that speaks in favor of the impervious coverage, that's my estimation as well. Does any board members have any questions or?
Mr. Chairman, I'll just go.
You want to go through the letter, Steve?
Just very, very quickly, just to summarize,
Let's
on
do that.
the June 7, 2023 review, as we heard, the applicant is asking for a impervious coverage or a lot coverage of 40.7%, where 39.6 is existing. A front yard setback to accommodate the porch, 25 foot is required, 23.02 is being proposed. There are existing additions on the shed, but they're being removed, and the new shed will be in compliance with the setback of 5 feet from the property lines. We indicated in our review that the impervious coverage is only 1.1% over the existing addition. However, it is over 10% over the threshold of 30%. So we would ask the applicant to recommend that the applicant install a rain barrel in one of the locations of a downspout. And is that acceptable?
Steve, are you talking about for the total over 30 or just for the new?
Correct. So for the new, it's only 1.1%. So we do not recommend doing a on-site infiltration system, because it's only 1.1% over the existing. But there's still over 10% of the 30% that's required. A rain barrel would be a mitigating factor for that impervious coverage variance.
Is that acceptable, Ms. Davy? Okay. You'll have Steve's office decides that appropriately.
But no need, just whatever rain barrel, and just have it so you can use the water fluid, whatever you do around the yard.
Sounds good to me.
Nothing further, sir.
Any questions or comments for Steve or further questions for the applicant? We'll open it up to the public. If anybody from the public want to come forward and speak on this application? Seeing no one, we'll close public participation, bring it back to Ms. Hyatt to discuss the legal criteria.
Sure, so this is a request for some bulk C variances. Applicant has the burden of proving both positive and negative criteria for these variances. I think we've gone through a lot of these and I think conditions for the C1 variance down. Applicant must demonstrate that the strict application of the zoning regulations to the property, create a hardship. It sounds like this property has a number of existing nonconformities. Applicant has to prove also the negative criteria to granting relief will not cause substantial detriment to the public good and it will not substantially impair the intent and purpose of the zoning plan and zoning ordinances.
Does anybody want to make a motion for variances sought this evening?
I'll make a motion to accept the application with Mr. Box suggestions in his letter and is expressed on the record this evening.
We have a second?
I'll second.
Madam Secretary, call the roll, please.
Sorry, was that Michael or Mayor? Okay, thank you.
Thanks for.
Sure. Mr. Madden,
Yes.
Chairman Hanson,
Yes.
Mayor Hauk,
Yes.
Councilman Morgan,
Yes.
Mr. Famularo,
Yes.
and Mr. Schmidt.
Yes.
Project approved. I'll tell you the same thing that we told Mr. Rock earlier, that next month when we have our meeting, we'll do a resolution that'll memorialize what was decided this evening. And that the resolution of the decision will be published in the newspaper, and then theoretically somebody could appeal your case within 45 days of the notification or within the publication of that decision. Until that time, you can proceed with your project, but that it would be at your own risk. If you want to do that, you'll see Suzanne and get your permits.
I was gonna
Yes,
say,
sir.
you can't actually submit for permits though until after the resolution's passed next month, right?
Correct. Yeah, because the construction office needs to see the resolution.
Yeah, that's how I know.
But then the 45 days, we could get the permits and start working that 45 days.
That's the-
Yes.
That would be the risk. Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck with the project. Okay. Next case this evening, case number 23-6-3B. That's Richard Kocher, third, 1035, I'm sorry, I got that right, by the way. 1025 West High Street, block 72, lot 30. This is a full variance for an addition. Before we'll have you, anybody that's going to be testimony sworn in.
All right, please. Yep, raise your right hand, everyone. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
I do.
All right, thank you. I have reviewed notice for this applicant. Applicant has served proper notice to the property owners and published the notice of the hearing in accordance with NJSA 4055D-12. The board has jurisdiction to hear and determine the application for these bulk variances approval in accordance with the provisions of the Haddon Heights Land Development Ordinance Section 450-81 and Municipal Land Use Law 4055D-70C.
You want to tell us about your project? Looks like we're here for a lot coverage variance, and there's a couple existing non-conformities that are being exacerbated this evening.
Correct.
Can you please give your name, just so I have it?
My name is Edwin Jeselowski. I'm the architect of record on this project. I'm
Edward,
registered in New Jersey.
can you just spell your last name?
Jesilowski. First name is Edwin.
I'm sorry, thank you. And you're the architect. Go ahead and talk about your background so we can approve you as an expert.
I'm licensed in New Jersey and I'm licensed in Pennsylvania. I've been practicing architecture for 50 years.
We accept you as a expert in architecture. Continue.
Thank you very much. Well, what we're planning to do is put an addition onto the back of the house to expand the kitchen. I assume you have a little drawing in front of you, but I have a color over here. We want to put an addition on the back of the house, which is this little black rectangle over here. And that addition will sit on existing concrete. The backyard has additional concrete. And we're going to put it right on top of the existing concrete. It's a one-story addition. And we're going to give a new set of stairs. There's a walkway that's on the side of the property that goes from the front all the way to the back. And what we're going to do is we're going to remove some of that existing concrete to the side and to the back to reduce the coverage. The coverage that we have, we are required to have 30% coverage. The existing property has 32.9% coverage. With the addition and the removal of some of this additional concrete, we will reduce the coverage from 32.9 to 32.7. There'll be no increase, but a minor decrease. And what we're doing to achieve that is to remove this walkway to the side and a portion of the concrete driveway in the back. So we're asking for a coverage variance. Also, the requirement for the lot is 12,000 square feet, and this lot is undersized, and it is 10,890 square feet. So it's a smaller lot than is required for this property. And that's basically what we want to do.
I noticed that much like the last case, you have a concrete driveway that extends all the way back to the garage that allows you to park your
Correct.
vehicles behind the front line of the
Correct.
house. Or towards the rear of the house, I should say.
Correct.
So that exacerbates your coverage issue. You're reducing
I'm
coverage.
just going to stand up for a second. I don't know if you can see it. This blue piece is the existing house. This is a driveway that comes all the way up from the street. This is all concrete back here. And then this is the garage. So we're going to build on top of this little piece of concrete over here. But this is all concrete.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Chairman, our June 7th, 2023 correspondence outlines, in essence, what we already heard from testimony this evening. We have a 32.7 proposed condition, where 32.9 maximum lot coverage currently exists. The requirement in the R2 zone is 30%. Also, we note in our review several existing conditions, front yard setback, as well as an outbuilding setback deviation, but they're existing conditions. In the conclusions, part of our review on page 4.4, the applicant is decreasing the amount of lot coverage, therefore we don't recommend any mitigating items regarding impervious coverage, because they're making it more green than it is right now. And also I noted, as the footprint of the proposed addition is less than 500 square feet, a grading plan would not be required. So I would suggest that we have that as part of the resolution. So that's one box that can be checked off, where they don't have to go through the grading plan review process. That's all I have, sir.
Thanks, Steve. Anybody have any questions or comments for Steve or the applicant? Hearing none, I'll open the hearing to the public for anybody that would like to speak on the application. If anybody's here to speak on this application, please come forward while you're sworn. Seeing none, we'll close public participation, bring back to Elena to discuss the legal criteria.
Thank you. Before I go into the C1 variance, just, would you say that the peculiar and exceptional practical difficulties of this property is resulting because it is a little slightly undersized, and has some existing nonconformities on the property?
Correct.
Okay. All right. And also, would you say that the requested variance is the, I guess, minimum requested variance reasonably needed for this property, especially because you're decreasing the lot coverage?
Correct.
And have you talked to any of your neighbors about the property? I know you had to give the notice to them. Would you say that like granting this relief will not cause any substantial detriment to the public good?
We have.
Okay.
No issues whatsoever.
Okay, great. All right, so this applicant is requesting a C1 variance for hardship. Applicant must demonstrate that the strict application of the zoning regulations to the property will create a hardship or result in exceptional practical difficulties by reason of exceptional narrowness or shallowness. The applicant also has to prove the negative criteria, that the granted relief will not cause any substantial detriment to the public good, and it will not substantially impair the intent and purpose of the zoning plan and zoning ordinance.
Correct.
Great. You ready, Mr. Chairman?
And would anybody like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the variance request subject to the conditions as set forth in Mr. Fox correspondence.
I'll second it.
Roll call, Suzanne, please.
Sure. Mr. Madden,
Yes.
Chairman Hanson,
Yes.
Mayor Hauck,
Yes.
Councilman Morgan,
Yes.
Mr. Famularo,
Yes.
and Mr. Schmidt.
Yes. Motion passes, the project's approved. You heard the deal I gave about the appeal period earlier, I won't go through it again.
We're good.
With the pervious economic and inglesiously, good luck with your project.
Thank you very much. Thank you much appreciated. Thank you very much.
I'll not see you refuse that. Sorry, no idea.
There was something you dropped.
The theory is that you could make these before that or something like that. That's what they told me when I took the orientation. Okay, we have one last case. Mr. Madden's recusing himself because of a relationship with our final applicant this evening. This is case number 23-6-4A. Mr. Timothy Big, 2007 10th Ave, lot 57, lot 16. For variances related to a sport court. Good evening, Mr. Big, how are you?
Great, I'll let everyone know.
We'll have our solicitor swear you in.
All right, please, raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Also, I've reviewed notice in this matter. The applicant has served proper notice to the property owners and published the notice of the hearing in accordance with NJSA 4055D-12. So the board has jurisdiction to hear and determine the application for this bulk variance for the sport court. And the variance approval in accordance with the provisions of the Haddon Heights Land Development Ordinance, Section 450-81, and the Municipal Land Use Law, NJSA 4055D-70C.
Okay, you want to tell us a little bit about your project?
Sure, we are proposing a sport court in the rear of our yard. The sport court itself is actually pervious. It allows water and airflow to be placed on top of a concrete gravel base.
Okay.
In anticipation of the project, just so that the board's aware, we have taken up a section of our driveway that's noted on the survey. We have also put in the additional infiltration system we have on the side of our house. We have two or three of our downspouts are connected to the ground. And for this project on the side of the house where the court will be, we are having the downspouts placed in the ground as well. So that's it, we're seeking a lot coverage variance. I would also note, just in reviewing the letter from the engineer, I would ask for a waiver of the grading plan. We've had no issues. I mean, it's a flat yard. Considering that we're taking the steps of the additional infiltration system when it's not needed, I would just ask that a waiver be granted with regards to that.
I think we would probably defer to Mr. Fox's office on that.
If I could just ask a few questions. One of the concerns was the placement of the athletic court right up against the property line. We recommended 5 feet from the property line.
No problem.
All right. Second question
It's
is,
going to move in 5 feet then.
so moving in 5 feet.
Oh, yeah,
Second question is, I believe my office spoke with you, and thank you for sending us the information. The top grid of the athletic court materials absolutely is impervious. Will you agree to demonstrate that the gravel subbase is also a pervious gravel versus crushed concrete, for instance, is not pervious? It packs up just like concrete. It has to be something that actually has water flow through.
Whatever is needed. I mean, if my contractor indicated he would use crushed concrete for it, so
Crushed concrete would not Crushed concrete would allow the water to go through the athletic court surface, the grid, but as soon as they hit the crushed concrete would not allow the water to go through.
So is this gonna be like a pervious bituminous surface?
It's actually snapped together and
Oh, it's a snap together, okay.
snap together grid system
Remember that?
that goes over a gravel base. The choice of the gravel base, I think, is critical here. As long as they can demonstrate that it perks through the gravel base, then I would have no objection to the impervious coverage variance. Lot coverage variance, because it would be a pervious type of coverage.
Okay. In practicality, even though we're considering impervious, it'll be practically pervious.
In terms of lot grading, our ordinance is pretty specific, anything over 500 square feet. I do not have existing grades. I do not know if constructing this will, I can't represent to the board, if constructing this will change or alter any of the grades out on the site that may affect the adjacent properties.
I have a hard time justifying the waiver if Mr. Bach doesn't have. I would defer to you on that, Steve, personally.
It's been the policy of the borough. If it meets the condition of a grading plan, we could go to the grading plan. So the review is done and it's on the record, and we make sure that there's no detriment to the adjacent property.
Your contractor should be able to take a level out there and do something.
Does that mean I gotta come back?
No.
Or,
No.
If you were approved tonight, it would just be a condition of approval. Your contractor would have to submit something during the permit phase, just to show how he's gonna grade.
This grading plan is separate from this is the ordinance requirement for the borough of a grading plan application that you would make to the construction
For the
office.
construction office for your permits, and Steve would do that.
okay, that would include an additional, payment for escrow?
Yes, there's an application fee for a grading plan.
So are you willing to work with Steve's office as far as demonstrating that the sub-basement of this sub-court is gonna be pervious to his satisfaction? So, Steve, anything?
That is in essence part of our letter.
Any questions from the board?
And also, we note several existing non-conformities that should be recorded for the record for the applicant's benefit for any future.
Maybe for lot size, minimum lot width.
Side yard,
Side yard number being exacerbated, it doesn't seem like, he said he was gonna put it by a property line, so.
It is just the maximum lot coverage for the one variance, correct, Steve?
Correct, that is the only variance this evening.
There's nothing in our code that says how far past the wall court or anything like that has to be off the property line. Okay. I think 5 feet's acceptable.
5 feet will allow them to do the grading and the excavation without impacting the adjacent property.
And just so the record is clear, I've spoken to the property owner on the side where the court's going, absolutely no issue.
I have a question. What sports will be played on the sport court? Is it
Uh,
basketball?
basketball, and
Football,
whatever the kids want to play.
Gotcha. I wasn't sure if it was like for something like super specific.
No.
Okay.
We're actually doing one, and they play like deck hockey on these things now too. They all snap together, and boards are plastic. It's like a new application. It's pretty neat.
Anybody from the board have any more questions?
And you said the neighbor adjacent to it where it's fine with it. What do they have over there? Is that
They have a little
structure?
bit of, they have a little bit of a garden and then a driveway, and then, they have a two-story garage in the rear of their property.
Thank you.
And again, Tim, your driveway goes back to looks like all the way almost to the back of the house, so I mean, that adds to your impervious coverage issue that you're undersized and you have the driveway like our master plan wants, so you can park cars past the front of the house.
Correct.
So for the lot coverage, just to note, 30% is required under the zone, 33.5% is existing, 41% is being proposed.
Yeah, so it sounds like the peculiar and exceptional practical difficulties for this property is the fact that the lot is undersized. That's pretty much the primary reason, right?
That's correct.
Okay. All right, so just a reminder, this is for a C1.
Okay, hold on.
Oh, yeah, go ahead, sorry.
I know that we-
Got excited. I got
It's
excited.
okay. I did too. I'm gonna, I mean, the public for any questions or comments on this application. Something I want to talk.
Doesn't matter.
Do you want to talk on that? Okay, we're closing the public comment. Bring back Lena to discuss the criteria.
Yep, so this is for this C1 hard variance for hardship. Seems that the lot is undersized and some existing nonconformities. Applicant must demonstrate that the strict application of the zoning regulations to the property create a hardship or result in exceptional practical difficulties. Had to prove the positive criteria and the negative criteria, being that the granting relief will not cause substantial detriment to the public good and will not substantially impair the intent and purposes of the zoning plan and zoning ordinance.
Does anybody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the application with the conditions provided by Mr. Bach in his letter, as well as his comments here this evening.
I'll second that.
Suzanne, can we have a roll call? please?
Sure. Chairman Hanson,
Yes.
Mayor Hauck,
Yes.
Councilman Morgan,
Yes.
Mr. Famular,
Yes.
and Mr. Schmidt.
Yes.
Motion passes. Same spiel about the appeal period, saying that there was nobody here, very unlikely. You missed a chance to get a bigger court, you could have come up and talked. Appreciate forgot. Is there anything else that the board wants to discuss this evening? I know Dean was supposed to be reaching out to Frank about the sign ordinance. I don't know. Seeing that Dean's not here, Chris, do you know anything about that, or?
Yeah, I met with Dean, I met with Dean last week, maybe a week or two ago, at the time. Frank was supposed to be there, but he didn't show up. We made a fair amount of progress.
Thank you.
Didn't get through the entire thing. We're gonna have to meet again to finalize it. We'll do that in the next month, so once that's done, I guess we can talk as to whether to submit, if everybody wants to take a look at it. But I am eager to bring it to council to have a review and then vote it on.
And then bring it here after that, I'll just bring it here before.
Well, it'll go here first, and then council can finalize.
Yeah, I think this is what, our third, fourth year we're going to go on this one.
At least.
I think because it's starting here, as Emily had previously stated, it's coming back to us,
So
like,
it's
it
not
doesn't,
coming here
it
for
doesn't
that.
really need to come back. Like, normally we would do ordinance, introduction, come to you.
Bring it here and then go back to final.
Okay, kind of, it's been there a bunch and it's been
That's
there
why
here.
we're not-
Right,
It's so long.
I don't know, I mean, I know it's already been through attorney review, I don't know, I don't know if, I don't know how many chefs want to have input onto this.
Emily's still.
Yeah, it's signed.
Emily has not been involved, well, at least not in this most recent iteration.
Is the sign ordinance?
So the only reason
It's been going on. for
my
about
guess
5
would be is
years,
if
I
we,
feel like.
if you, which is, I can't even
I mean,
imagine
that's
what
one.
happened, but if you propose something, we made drastic changes at council, that's the only reason it probably get kicked back, correct? The only reason it should.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
I was gonna say, the only reason we would kick it back to planning board was if we
A while
made
ago,
significant
yeah.
changes
Oh,
I know.
at the council level.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say.
Then we should kick it back.
Been done.
Yeah.
It's been done.
Give you a copy of it. if you
Yeah.
say, Blair.
We did it.
I'm happy to review it.
I think Emily.
I know.
Should have been done.
No, it was
Yeah,
done.
in the beginning.
It died.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was.
I mean, I'm happy to read.
He did.
Let's take it.
I said
2 minutes to read it.
Yeah, when we're, when we're off the record,
So next month, maybe August, something like that.
I hope, yeah, I really hope at the very latest at the end of the summer, it'll be done.
Cool.
So, yeah, we'll definitely keep you updated.
Steve, you got anything?
Nothing, sir.
Anyone else? Do you want to entertain a motion for adjournment?
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor? Second. Second. All in favor? Aye. We're adjourned.
That was a quick meeting.
I won the over.
Yeah, you did.
I won the under.
Very
I
efficient.
said, here goes Joe.
Yeah, you speak.
And it also helps, a lot of the applications